Today we're discussing pulling mechanics of major exercises used in the gym. So when we think of pulling, we think of things like pull-ups and chin-ups and rows. So we're going to go over the main techniques we want to see when people are doing those exercises, and again some of those mobility requirements we want to see if you're going to be using these exercises as well. Pulling exercises, we want to be doing more pulling than pushing in the gym. So if I'm doing, let's say, a bench press, I want to have like a 3-to-1 or 2-to-1 ratio of pushing to pulling. So if I do a bench, I'm probably doing 3 other, whether it be horizontal or vertical pulling exercises to balance out that. We are kind of an interior dominant society where we sit at desks and we drive and we're on computers, and then we go to the gym and reinforce that by bench pressing and doing push-ups. So that's why these exercises are so important, and even more so to make sure we're doing them properly. So as I said, pull-ups, chin-ups, rows are our main things we're going to go over. We'll start with a rowing pattern. I would suggest you do more horizontal rows than you would be doing vertical pulls such as chin-ups, pull-ups, rope climbs, etc. And people tend to be weaker in these exercises as well too. So again, with the row, as I talked about in the pressing mechanics video, shoulder extension is important. So shoulder extension is the ability to bring your arm behind your body. So when you're doing a row, you want to work within the range that you have. So if this is my range of motion in a shoulder extension, this is probably going to be what will be the end of my row as well too, which would look similar to a dip and would look similar to a push-up or a bench press. So we want to work within those ranges. So if I'm doing a row, a 3-point row for example, my back is flat. I'm going to start with the shoulder first. I'm going to pull into my ribs, and again I'm going to come to a point where I'm using the range of motion I have and come back to that straight arm position. A few things to keep in mind with the row. We don't want to over row. So if I really pull high, so high that my shoulder dumps forward, I can irritate the front of my shoulder. Okay, so you don't want to drive your elbows high to the ceiling because you're going to irritate that area. So again, you're going to think about keeping that shoulder pulled back and probably going to a point where your tricep is level with your torso and not cranking above that. Even doing that right there does not feel good on my shoulder. Other thing with rowing is we don't want to over protract. So when I go in a row, I don't want to overstretch my lat at that bottom position. So yes, I will get a bit of that protraction, but I don't want to overdo that stretch. Other mistake we see with rows are people that keep their shoulder blade pinned the whole time. So they keep their shoulder glued, and really there's not a lot of action happening at the shoulder blade. So again, the shoulder blade should move, but you don't want to overdo how much it moves as well. With dumbbell rows, with barbell rows, spine position is very important as well. So if we see ourselves pulling in a round back position, not going to be very efficient. It's going to put some stress on the back. If you find you have issues knowing what level is for yourself, we suggest use a Camel Drill, where you get on all fours and you round and extend and try to find middle. That middle position, if I go back to my bench, should be replicated here. So you can use that as a drill to determine what that neutral spine position is for yourself. So along with that, we talked a few videos ago about hinging. Really, this is a hinge position. So if I have issues with that deadlift hinge position, it's going to be hard to get in position to row as well too. So rowing and hinging, deadlifting are somewhat related as well. So keep that in mind. We're going to use a free weight exercise. The other row that's very common in the gym would be like a Trx row or a suspension system row. So we can replicate that here. Really the same rules would apply if you go free weight to a bodyweight style row. So in a bodyweight style row, same mechanics. I pull through my shoulders first, and then my elbows would follow, and I would only go as far as the range I have. And again, as I go back, I would protract a bit, but not excessively pull forward. So you'll see from the back angle there, I get myself set up in a good position, squeeze the glutes, tighten the abs, pull through the shoulders first, elbows follow, and I'm pulling to roughly upper arm in line with my torso. I'm not overdoing that position, as I said, which would kind of irritate the front of the shoulder. So don't feel the need to really pull yourself forward and go in a position where you're going to have some compensations happening here as well. When we row, with again dumbbells or body weight options, we like to coach that your shoulders do not like your ears. That'll avoid you getting in a position where you're going to shrug and put tension in your traps. So think about keeping the neck long and neutral and keeping those shoulders relatively low. So again, you'll see from the back, the neck is long and the shoulders are relatively low, and then I pull down versus having the shoulders shrugged up and reaching forward, which even that motion does not feel great on the shoulder area. So keep that in mind with the rows. With rows, a lot of people say, I don't feel it in my back, I feel it in my grip, and I feel it in my biceps. So getting in the habit of keeping the neck long and pulling through the shoulders first is going to help get some recruitment and some connection in those muscles we want to work. Similar to the pressing mechanics video as well, elbow angle is important. So we don't want to be too close to the body, and you don't want to be too far out as well. So you're probably going to be somewhere in the middle or in the back. We've got a bit of space, like again, a bit of a golf ball, a softball underneath that arm. You're probably going to be somewhere at the 45-degree angle when we row. And the same thing would be here with a dumbbell. We've got a bit of space here, and we're rowing that. So that basically covers the horizontal rowing, which would be the priority in pulling exercises. And then we would finish with the vertical exercises, pull-ups, chin-ups, etc. So when we go to talk about these exercises, there's a few things we want to talk about as well. We have a set of rings here, which is great. It's a little more wrist friendly, it's a little more elbow friendly and shoulder friendly. Using a straight bar is fine, but if you have some limitations in the wrist and elbow, it can become cranky on certain joints if you're always using a straight bar. So if I turn my palm over, this is called supination. If I don't have great supination and I try to replicate that chin-up position, and this is all I have, if I try to crank myself onto a pull-up bar over time, this will probably not feel great. The same thing would be with a pull-up grip. If I pronate, if I bring my palm down, and I can't get my palm all the way over, as in a pull-up grip. If I lock myself on that overhand grip, and I don't really own that range of motion that would be in this position, that would create some issues over time as well too. So both are great exercises, but if you feel kind of cranky, going to something that rotates or a neutral grip will in general be a little more upper body joint friendly. So keep that in mind if you feel that chin-ups kind of bother the inner elbow or the shoulder, just consider that. When we're doing pull-ups, rows, and chins, etc., we want to think active shoulders. So active shoulders goes back to that same rule of the shoulders hitting their ears. My neck is long. I'm not in a lazy position where I'm in a dead hang. Okay? So when I do my pull-up, chin-up, what have you, start in that active shoulder position and then drive through the elbows and come back down to that active shoulder position. From the back, you'll see the same thing. So the shoulders are active. I pull through them first, I draw the elbows, and I come back down to the active position. We don't want to see this. Oftentimes you'll see people do chin-ups or pull-ups and they'll finish with the kind of the shoulders shrugged up. And often that happens if they're pulling with their elbows first And eventually you're going to finish kind of in that shrugged up position, which as you can see is not a really good, healthy shoulder position either. So think shoulders first, elbows follow. The other thing with the initial pull, work through a full range of motion. So if I do the chin up, and I only come down to, let's say, here, well, I'm not getting that full range. And I'm not utilizing that first pull, and you're gonna find you're gonna be overdoing your arms and not using the lats and mid-back to do that for yourself. So again, the arms will never be as strong as the upper back muscles. Get them to do the job, and just think of the hands and the biceps as hooks to assist with them. So you utilize that as you start your pulls. Core position is important as well. So when we're coaching people doing pull-ups, we want to think ribs down, abs are hard, and glutes are squeezed. And this will keep you in a nice stable position versus having the belly spilled forward and having the chest cranked up and creating some issues on the spine. So think tail is tucked, abs are hard, ribs are down, and then we would initiate the pull from there and back to that same position. So a few things to keep in mind as far as basic techniques and some things to avoid as you're going through. A final mobility piece we want to talk about with overhead pulling is going back to we're a very interior train driven society. We're hunched over a lot. Many of us don't have great shoulder mobility. So as I said with the pressing videos, a lot of people can't get their arms overhead very easily. So if you know that this is your shoulder flexion, you get stuck here, we would probably want to avoid putting all your body weight and forcing you into a position that you're not really comfortable in. So I would favor in that case more of those rows anyways. So again, think about the wrists, think about the elbows, how do they move, think about your shoulders. Are you comfortable up here before getting right into doing pull-ups and then having your elbows be very sore in 3 weeks or your shoulders being very sore in that same amount of time? Favor horizontal rows. And again, we want to get the upper back strong. We want to get our rear delt strong, those lats muscles to balance out all the push-ups we're doing, the bench pressing, etc., to keep that upper back healthy and shoulders healthy. So hope those keys make sense. If you have any questions, let us know.